with the shape Manchester United is, those coach, their name can attract big star players. Osimhen's name, yes, is doing fantastically well.
It's a beautiful Tuesday morning and welcome you to another interesting edition of VOP this morning on Voice of the People TV. I am Fina Okechukwu, and on the show today we have three interesting topics, that made to be our major topic of conversation today. But one of it is that the Tinubu, Apkabio, others have been accused, of plotting to turn Nigeria into Mafia state, and that is coming from Tunde Bakare. Also on our radar today, Hakim Baba Ahmed confirmed resignation from Tinubu's government, says rigging 2027 might be the end of Nigeria, as he asserts that no candidate can win presidential elections without the North. We'll also be bringing the touchlight on what T.Y. Danjuma said. Danjuma called for self-defense here in Nigeria as Benue death toll climbs to 56 and labels violence a full-blown war. But on the other hand, the Jigawa governor also disagrees, insisting that Nigeria has not reached that stage.
Oh, well, interesting conversations indeed. And we'll be touching on all of these in the course of the program. We'll be going to the papers very shortly. But before we check out stories that made it to the cover pages of the dailies, let's look into a few conversations. I am Moses Humphrey.
Good morning and thanks for joining us. I am Chukwuma Okoro. And happy Easter Tuesday. Moses, is there anything like Easter Tuesday?
No.
Okay, so it's still like happy Easter. Happy Easter. Talking about trending stories, the State House has set aside 10 billion naira in the 2025 budget to install a solar mini grid at the presidential villa, aiming to tackle the challenge of unreliable power supply and rising electricity costs. The project is expected to cut reliance on national grid and help manage the financial strain on increasing tariffs, particularly as electricity prices continue to climb for high consumption users like those in Band A. Quite interesting. Now, the Aso Rock, where our president lives, want to cut off from the national grid and get into a solar panel that will supply light uninterrupted for the presidency and people that live within the vicinity of the Soviet. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. But why are they doing that? Because they are running away from high electricity costs. Because apparently they are in Band A, and people in Band A are paying through their noses and all of that. If it gets difficult, presidency, that they are unable to, or they are finding it difficult to meet their electricity costs, I wonder what happens to the average Nigerian. Unfortunately, we have a people in government who are always thinking about themselves, only themselves, myself, me, myself, and I. What is that supposed to be? I'm happy that this is coming from the presidency. So what excuse is the power minister going to give us? The other day in Lagos State here, the deputy governor, Hamzat, complained, said, look, my bill climbed from 2.7 million to 29 million naira a month, electricity bill. And I have a meter, I have meter, so why give me this kind of bill? And he said, look, if at this level I'm complaining, what happens to the ordinary Nigerian? And he says that a man who pays 2.8 million naira as annual rent in parts of Surulere received a whopping 28 million naira as electricity bill. What is that supposed to be? I don't get all of these things. I don't understand what is happening. So, power minister, the presidency, anybody that is in charge, you need to act fast because Nigerians are gradually losing it. People are migrated forcefully from Band B to Band A. So if the presidency is complaining, what do you expect a man that earns 70,000 naira a month to do about high electricity costs? I mean, I can't wrap it around my head. Maybe Moses or Fina, you can help us do that.
Oh, well, interesting times, like you rightly pointed out. It's a good initiative, talking about moving from fossil fuel to clean energy. That's a good way to go. Quite impressive, I must say. But if you check out this story, they are even owing some money. So it makes me start to wonder. I think they're owing to the tune of 342.35 million naira. So I start to ask myself, is the Aso Rock Villa metered? Or is that some estimated billing? So are we going to join Aso Rock Villa to the naval, Air Force base and other government facilities that are not paying their bills? Why haven't they been metered? If they are metered, at least it will be easier to trace what they spent. Anyway, it goes on and on. Some Nigerians, like Chukuma rightly said, a lot of Nigerians are being compelled. I told you here about the story of a friend of mine who is on one street and the next street is on, from the next street upwards is on band A, and his own street downwards, they're on band C, and they told them, look, migrate to band A. He wakes up in the morning, no light, but then he stares out his window and he sees light on the other street, and they complain that, look, we don't have light, we have barely 5 hours in an entire 24-hour day. They say, migrate to band A. So basically, it has gotten to a point where the landlords within that area are now coming together and say, look, let us just find a way to migrate to band A so we can have electricity. So Nigerians are being compelled to migrate. But 10 billion naira, like I said, interesting move. But isn't this selfish? Because if you are powering the Aso Rock Villa and, its environs with 10 billion naira, 10 billion naira would be enough to power rural communities. Talking about 10 billion naira is enough to fix the transmission problem that we have with the national grid. That's enough to fix it. And there will be more power transmitted and more communities will have power. 10 billion naira is not going to fix the metering gap that we're experiencing. It's not going to solve the bigger problem. So it's just about the politicians. And it's taxpayers' money because that money is coming up from the budget. So we see how things are done. Taxpayers' money used to ensure that the politicians, those in the Aso Rock, those in the villa, will live a comfortable life, while the rest of Nigerians, especially those in rural communities, will continue to suffer. And then when election comes around the corner, you'll be asked to vote again. And then you'll be asked to vote along ethnic lines. And then you'll start to argue, he's my person, he's not my person. He's a Christian, he's a Muslim, he's a pagan, and the rest of it. I think it's high time that Nigerians gave themselves some brain and, do things the proper way.
Sorry, Fina. Moses, when you talk about 10 billion naira, you see, a lot of people don't understand what 10 billion, you know what 1 million naira can do for you and I at this moment. Now, 1 million naira, 1 billion naira is 1 million naira in 1,000 places.
In 1,000 places.
1 million naira.
1 million spread. Just imagine this room now.
That's 1 million naira.
A million.
So a billion naira is 1,000 times of 1 million naira. Then 10 billion naira. That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot. I know that our naira has lost value, but even at that, a billion naira is still a lot of money.
That speaks to how the political elites or the people that we voted for, how the value was. Like my colleagues in the studio rightly said, if you're taking taxpayers' money, marking 10 billion naira alone for you to have solar installations in the presidential villa, whereas the old women and men whom this money has been deducted from their salaries don't even have light. Some of them are still suffering the heavy weight of estimated billings because they are yet to get prepaid meters in their localities. Then that speaks to how valuable the people that we elected in office placed you and I. That is all I can say, to that. Because if I'm to start talking about this, it will look more like maybe. Anyway, let me not just say anything. I'm already upset.
I'm on band C, and I am happy that I'm on band C. I was speaking with my brother yesterday, and he just yelled, "Come on, put off the AC!" And apparently, his son turned on the AC and was enjoying his. It was a hot afternoon in Abuja. And the young man felt, look, let me turn on the AC. And my brother said, look, you're wasting power. Don't you know 20,000 naira just lasts us 4 days? And that's the reality of Nigerians. 20,000 of the youth unit will last you 4 days. It's horrible. It's horrible. So you have these things to make life comfortable for yourself, but you can't even use them. You can't turn on your air conditioning, just to cool yourself on a hot afternoon, because you're thinking, how much am I going to replace this with? So government should think about the people. They should think about the people. If it's to bring down the cost of the tariff back to maybe 60 something that it was before, it was about 67 or 68 naira per kilowatt. Yes, thank you very much. If it's to bring it back to that, then go ahead and do it. We've moved it to about 209 now, 209 naira per kilowatt hour, which is horrible, really horrible. Oh well.
I think the horrible experience is always visible and prominent here in Nigeria, because I listened to Paul Kagame talk about the political elites in Africa and how they've been sulking the people dry, and how is it, high time for them to break free shackles that they've been bound to. Anyway, I pray Nigeria will also emulate from other African countries. And
well, let's get on to another conversation now. I guess we'll revisit this maybe some other time, maybe tomorrow, talk about this and expatiate on it. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited has cut petrol prices at its filling stations in Lagos and Abuja, offering some relief to motorists as of Monday. Now, fuel was being sold at 880 naira per litre in Lagos and then 935 naira per litre in Abuja, reflecting a reduction of 45 naira and 15 naira, respectively, from various rates. This is coming after Dangote Refinery, after NNPCL reinstituted the crude for naira, and Dangote Refinery brought down its price of fuel back to 880 naira, 900 and something, and 30 in some other filling stations. And yes, talking about the purity of the Dangote fuel. This is not advertising for Dangote, but some Nigerians can attest to the fact that your vehicle tends to work better when you use a certain kind of fuel, because it's clean. It's cleaner than some others that you get. So I think NNPCL, whatever they do, should ensure that, look, clean fuel is given to the people. Now, obviously, without any iota of doubt, Dangote is the market force here that is determining the price of fuel. So if his price goes down, he forces NNPCL to bring theirs down. Well, good move. I hope BOA and the rest of them will come upstream, and Nigerians the market will be really competitive at that time. That's what I crave. That's my take.
Yes, I think the word there is competitive. The market should be competitive, because we are seeing a bit of competition now between Dangote and NNPCL. Like Moses, you said the other day, we also talked about it, that looks like Dangote is a one-man riot squad. One man, one man. There's a guy in school, we used to call him one man. The guy was so tall and huge, so we called him one man. So Jonathan is like one man now, who is deciding what happens in the oil industry, especially the Dangote is the person in the oil industry.
Where did that come from?
Jonathan happens to be a very good president, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Maybe I think I'm missing his days, so that's why he keeps coming back to me. Apparently, So Dangote is a decider now, and when he coughs, others will sneeze, and it's a good thing. I like the fact too that there is competition, and we expect to have more players in the industry. We keep hearing about Watersmith. What is going on with Watersmith somewhere in Edo State? We keep hearing about BOA. We keep hearing about Ibeto. All these things are works in progress. So, but they should tidy up, their ends and come into the sector, because the more the merrier. That's a matter of fact, the more the merrier. And they should also, while building this thing, they should also make arrangements for where they are going to source their products. Because as it is, we were told sometime in the recent past that our crude oil, had been sold up until 2030. So if they get into problem like Dangote, and looks like Dangote is able to negotiate, because at a point, Naira for crude said, no, we are not doing. And when the guy says, okay, I'm going to increase price, I'm even going to start selling in dollars, they say, okay, don't worry, it's okay. Because it's also a lever that controls inflation one way or the other, because the government is struggling to bring down inflation. And that is one of the critical factors, that shut up the inflationary rate, because every other thing revolves around the petroleum product, the transportation, cost of production in industries, diesel and everything. So it's a good thing. So we need to see more players, so that the competition will come down. Like my friend and I were discussing, I'm talking about Moses. Moses said, look, is it possible that we'll get this thing at 150 naira? That is what we are looking at.
Some will say if wishes were horses, beggars would play polo, they will not just ride as the case may be. Yeah, some time ago it would have been possible, but now with the way things are going, look at the trajectory. You made mention of the back and forth that Dangote had fight with the players in the I'm talking about NNPC and even the federal government, the removal of the Naira for crude deal and the reinstatement of it now, because it was ushered back after he threatened to start selling to Ipman, in dollars and all that. But if we keep on looking at the way it is, I'm talking about the unstable nature of the price of PMS. One person asked me yesterday, share this one too now for Easter break. It's more like they are just giving out or bringing out, cutting down the price to give Nigerians incentive for Easter. It happened during Christmas too. Is it going to be sustainable? Are we going to fall back again to 1,000 something, for the fuel pump price? I don't like the fact that Nigeria as an oil-producing country is still having all this back and forth. If we go to Saudi Arabia, that doesn't even have, any other thing for them to leverage on. They're enjoying life. If you go to every other country that have crude oil as their major source of revenue, they have so many incentives that they enjoy. But when it comes to Nigeria, 15 naira, 45 naira reduction is being celebrated. Nigerian government should do better than this. Like, seriously speaking, Chukwuma is missing Jonathan. Me, I'm missing the fact that there was a time my daddy told me a story of how, how Naira was equivalent or even higher than the dollars. I wasn't born then, but I'm looking forward to having something like that also happen in my own time. Wishes were horses.
Interesting. Like I said, I was having a conversation. I had quite over an hour-long conversation with my brother yesterday. And part of the things we talked about was the state of the nation. Talked about how when we were young, he talked about a friend of his, an older friend of his, said, look, when he was young, his parents used to tell him, don't worry, Nigeria will be better. Nigeria will be better. Things will be fine. Don't worry. You're the future of tomorrow. Now his parents are long dead and gone. He's close to 60. He's 60 something now. And then he's looking at his children. They are growing too. And he has stopped telling them that, look, Nigeria will be better, because he doesn't want to give them false hope. And that's the reality. That's the reality. Because when you keep saying, there's a song, Nigeria go survive, Africa go survive. We're still trying to survive, unfortunately. So things are not getting any better. Are they? Well, I guess to some people.
Yes, to some people. Let me just tell one little story before we leave. I got somewhere and one man was like, now things are very difficult. Now, why is it that everything, you cannot touch this, you touch this, the price is high, this one. One guy said, things are now very difficult to you because you have always enjoyed. For some people like us, it has always been like this.
It's been like this.
So Nigeria has been like this for many people.
For many people, indeed.
Like, I have also been hearing this story, Nigeria go better, since I was a small child. And things never got better. From the second of Shagari up until Muhammadu Buhari, Babangida, Abacha, things keep getting worse every other day. And it looks like for every government, you miss the previous one. Yeah. Like, what is happening now? People are even asking Baba to come back.
Buhari said it. He said it, that you will miss me. And we miss him.
We miss him. I'm telling you.
Do we? Do you miss him? Oh, well. Wait. Anyway, let's get into another conversation now, Fina.
The former communications minister, Debayo Shitu, has expressed dissatisfaction over the way former Kaduna Governor Nasir El-Rufai was handled before leaving the All Progressives Congress (APC. They said El-Rufai, a key supporter during President Bola Tinubu's campaign, deserved recognition for his role and now has valid reasons for his growing criticism of the administration, having received no form of compensation. And this speaks well to entitlement mentality and entitlement spirit that some political elites have in this country. Because I think you played a vital role in, I wouldn't want to say in taking away the people's mandate, as a case may be, for the 2023 election, that some Nigerians are talking about how their own mandate will not be reflected in that election from the generation of the result and also the pronouncement of the outcome of that election. You expect what? Compensation? And someone is defending such? And people are saying that Nigeria will be a great nation, better. With people with such mindset, I wonder where we're headed to. Now, let's look at how the former governor of Kaduna State, the role he played during that particular campaign or during the 2023 general elections. Yes, it's true. He talked about how the former president or how the former central bank governor were trying to make Nigerians to suffer by saying that we're giving Naira a new face, the printing of the new Naira notes and, cashless economy and cashless policy. Nigerians really suffered. Then he was the only person that came up to say something about that. But he weren't talking for the people of in Nigeria as a nation. I think he was speaking for himself as a politician that will not even have enough money to share or hand out to people. And then people are leveraging on that to say that he needs to be compensated if he was not being, or if the compensation did not come true, that he's right with the criticism that he's bringing, or he's given to this present administration. I don't need El-Rufai to criticize the present administration because he was not being carried along. He should speak the truth
I
when he sees that.
I don't think there's anything wrong in saying that he should be compensated.
What is he being compensated for?
That's what politics is. Politics is all about you work for me, I compensate you. I mean, it's that's what it is the world over.
So we should compensate him for the Southern Kaduna people that lost their lives when he was the governor of the state.
That's not the point. He's not being compensated for how he governed a state. So he's being compensated for working for somebody to get into power. So let's not mix things up. I mean, the world over, like I was saying, in the United States, Elon Musk campaigned for Donald Trump, and he got compensated one way or another. It's politics. Now, back here in Nigeria, it's about the same thing. So, for whatever reason, I think the president, felt uncomfortable working with him. That's why Nasir El-Rufai is aggrieved. They work out their differences, and all of this is just postulations for 2027. That's basically what all of this is. But we'll wait to see what will happen. We will be talking in the course of the program about the position of the North in the scheme of things leading up to 2027. We'll x-ray all of this, and I'm pretty sure the name of El-Rufai will come up in that conversation.
Okay, Moses, it's good that this is coming from you, so I have my eyes on you. From now, I have my eyes on you.
Really?
Yes, because you and Adebayo Shitu just let the cat out of the bag.
What cat?
Something that has been an elephant in the living room that nobody wants to talk about. Suddenly, two of you are telling us what we should know or what you already know.
No.
You know that El-Rufai is doing everything that he's doing because he was not compensated. And coming from somebody like Adebayo Shitu, who his stint as communications minister was infamous. Every word that came out of his mouth was an insult to the Nigerian people. And he's here again telling us that, look, El-Rufai wasn't fairly treated. So when El-Rufai criticizes this government, you now understand. I asked these questions. Is El-Rufai doing all of this because he didn't make it to the president's cabinet? Now his ally, who shares almost the same ideology, both political and religious ideology, with him has come out to tell us, look, El-Rufai was not fairly treated. It is a good thing. Like Moses said, it's in the realm of politics. So we now begin to redefine what politics is. And talking about Elon Musk, a lot of people don't know. Elon Musk, I'm not sure he's been compensated because he is clearly not the director of DOGE. He's not. They made that clarification. So maybe he's seen around the president,
That's some form of compensation. Yes.
Okay.
You are hobnobbing within the corridors of major power.
Okay, so from henceforth, I'll keep hanging around you, you know, so that I get some benefits.
And compensation too.
And compensation.
Anyway,
it's good to know that, look, El-Rufai is doing all of this because he didn't make it to the president's cabinet. And I've always said it, a lot of Nigerians don't take him seriously. Why? Because of his role in Kaduna State, you know. He's still having problem in his... And I kept asking, and I'm still asking, what political capital does El-Rufai have in the north? Is he able to put resources together to work against the current president? That is something that is in contest because a lot of people don't like him, even in his home state, Kaduna.
That is how far we can go, you know, talking on the trend and stories. Let's move straight or swiftly to reviewing what the cover page of the national dailies will have on our table this morning. They're talking about. And I have the Vanguard newspaper, the Punch newspaper, the Nigerian News Direct, the Nigerian Tribune, even the Daily Independent and Daily Trust, and a whole lot more. And I would like to start off from the Daily Independent. The window headlines are: Jonathan, global leaders offer tribute to Pope Francis. Death toll in Benue. In Benue community, attacks rise to 72. Right after that, True TV convenes meeting on a state of insecurity. The banner headline on the cover page of the Daily Independent: experts itemize benefits of 23.2% petroleum import drop to economy. FGD bonks concession of Enugu Airport for lengthy period, confirms submission of proposals. Minister says FG generated 6.9 billion naira from main fees in Q1. NNPCL cuts petrol price to 800 naira to a litre in Lagos and 935 naira to a litre in Abuja. Protests in Jos over Plateau killings. Troops arrest 23 oil thieves, recover 67,000 litres of stolen product. Another board headline there reads, 13 insurance firms may lose licenses over incoming new Insurance Act. The bottom strip: Tinubu arrives Abuja after visit to France. Those are the stories you'll find on the cover page of the Daily Independent newspaper today.
And then to news, New Telegraph, we have these headlines here. Why I was reluctant to become Yar'Adua's running mate, GEJ, says winning 2025 Sunak Peace Prize a humbling surprise as Marco Aziboala, others honor ex-president. And then we have window headlines. Tinubu extols Kalu's unwavering patriotism, entrepreneurial spirit at 65, arrives Abuja after 2-week Europe working visit. Plateau under siege, Muftuang tells stakeholders. Nigerian airports running at a loss. Reports on Enugu Airport concessionaire, duration falls. NNPC Limited reduces fuel price to 880 naira a litre in Lagos, 995 naira a litre in Abuja. And then right on top, we have China floods Nigeria with 4.7 trillion naira worth of goods in 2 months as value of nation's exports hits 2.99 trillion naira year on year. And LCCI US tariff debt service put 23.9 trillion naira capital expenditure at risk. Some more headlines here. Why many Christian politicians engage in unrighteous acts. Cleric says he has never seen government or governor that pays tithe. FG to close Lagos Ijara Bridge for repairs April 27. Value of unsold goods up 87.5% to 2.14 trillion naira in 2024. Manufacturers Association of Nigeria. Nominal manufacturing output rose to 33.43 trillion naira. Monetary tightening worsened borrowing. And the world mourns as Pope Francis, first Latin American pontiff, dies at 88. He built bridge between faith, rich, poor. Tinubu, Atiku, Kalu, Obi, Khan, Catholic bishops, world leaders, others paid tribute. Life and times of Pope Francis, all of this on the cover page of the New Telegraph. And then there's a big picture there, a very bold one. It says, Christians stage holy protest over Benue Plateau killings. And when you look at that one, you have placards being carried around in that picture. Well, those are the headlines from the New Telegraph.
And up next is the Nigerian Tribune. World leaders, others pay tribute as Pope Francis dies at 88. He died from stroke, heart failure, Vatican. His life and times, from bouncer to papacy, those who may succeed him. By the way, he was Italian, he was Argentine, but of Italian descent, by the way. Anyway, the big story, Plateau forests, grazing reserves now occupied by bandits. That's coming from the state governor, Muftuang. Jonathan regrets inability to end Nigeria's suffering, says commitment to peace remains unshaken. And the grandson of popular Ondo musician Comfort Omoge killed by scavenger. Federal government registers, releases improved pepper, tomato varieties, 26 other crops to farmers. I hope this is not GMO from the back door. The federal government registers, releases improved pepper, tomatoes varieties, 27 other crops to farmers. Now, most stories. This quiet in APC over Tinubu's deal with Kwakwanso. Party chieftains kick against magic ticket for new entrants. And that's all from the Nigerian Tribune.
That's how far we can go, taking a quick peep on the cover page of the National Dailies. Do well to join Chukwuma and Moses for the newspaper review prop, and I'll be on top of the hour at 10 a.m. here on Voice of the People Television. We'll go on a quick break, and when we come back, we'll x-ray what Tunde Bakare says. He alleged that Tinubu Apkabio orders are plotting to turn Nigeria into a Mafian state. And we'll be joined by Prince Francis Chilaka, and also we'll be joined by Barrister Ejiofor to x-ray all this. After this quick break, do well to stay with us.
Good morning. It's the start of a beautiful day. Or start your day right with a healthy dose of news, fun, and inspiration. Join us on VOP this morning for the latest news, trending topics, and uplifting stories to set your day on the right vibe. From news and current events to lifestyle and entertainment, you are covered.
VOP this morning, 8 a.m., Monday through Friday.
Extraordinary. Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOP TV, now streaming on SLTV channel 202. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We bring in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics, sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. VOP TV on SLTV channel 202. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
From the views on the street
we go to bed empty hunger
to the blaring horns of a hustling city, the loudest voices of the common man got a medium to be heard.
This particular administration, they were coming unprepared.
It's not a bad thing to renovate the president's lawn.
Through top-notch programming, unbiased reportage of news, sports, business, entertainment, and cultural documentaries, Voice of the People 90.3 FM became a symbol for 21st century media. And now, a new baby is born. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV, youthful, full of vigor and penchant for excellence in the continent's media space, exposing the wrongs, applauding the rights, Dissecting the news without fear or favor, through factual and accurate stories and contents.
Corruption kills three things that makes a society.
Representing the interests of the people and giving them a voice. Voice of the People TV is here to stay towards building a fair society. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television, truly a voice for the people.
Welcome back. It's still VOP this morning. In a powerful address from Lagos, Pastor Bakari delivered a blunt assessment of Nigeria's current leadership, calling on President Bola Tinubu to drop what he described as a prideful approach to governance. The serving overseer of the Citadel Global Community Church urged the president to embrace humility and take advice that could help steer the country back on track. Bakari warned that the president's current direction is leading Nigeria astray and emphasized that leadership at this critical time must reflect character and responsibility, not arrogance. The pastor painted a grim picture of the nation's political climate, accusing both the executive and legislative branches of pushing Nigeria towards becoming a mafia-style state. He said the country's democracy, though uninterrupted for over 2 decades, is still trapped in immaturity and dysfunction. Bakari argued that Nigeria's real problem lies not in flawed systems or structures, but in the people running them. Leaders who, in his view, lack the moral compass and mental readiness for public office. According to what he sees as growing tyranny, Bakari criticized recent abuses of power and policies that have worsened conditions for the poor. He described the current National Assembly as the most ineffective since the return of democracy in 1999 and warned of a dangerous erosion of constitutional principles. Bakari concluded with a call for Nigerians to demand higher standards from those in office, including mandating psychological evaluations for political aspirants to rescue the nation from what he described as looming instability. We have with us in the studio Prince Francis Chilaka, a public affairs analyst, and Barrister Ejiofor Umebogo, who is a human rights activist and journalist. Also, he'll be joining us from Oka. I would like, before I will go to the gentlemen I have already, the one in the studio and the one joining from Oka in Anambra State, would like to have the video where Bakari was, talking about how ineffective the legislatures are, the legislative arm of government are in Nigeria.
At the center of this political banditry is the motor park brand of politics, nurtured by the old brigade politicians, and in recent times by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Mr. President, it is through your influence the Nigerian National Assembly has become a haven for legislative rascality. Mr. President, it's under your watch that the National Assembly has become an extension of the executive, grossly violating the principles of separation of powers and rubber stamping the whims and caprices of your office, all while singing the international anthem of psychoviolence on your mandate, we shall stand. Mr. President, thanks to your political machinations, Nigeria is now bedeviled by a captured National Assembly, the most ineffective in its checks and balances role since the start of the Fourth Republic. In 2006, the Fourth National Assembly had the audacity to reject the tenure extension bid of a sitting president. In 2010, the Sixth National Assembly summoned the courage to stand against the power hijacking cabal and restore Nigeria to the path of constitutionality by invoking the doctrine of necessity. In 2011, the House of Representatives of the Seventh National Assembly had the courage to elect its leaders, as did the Senate of the Eighth National Assembly in 2015, defying executive interference. this National Assembly, the 10th, has by its unconstitutional endorsement of the president's abuse of powers proven to be the most spineless in our recent history.
For the words of Pastor Tunde Bakare,
fellow citizens,
bad, in here and with the National Assembly. Now, good morning, Prince Francis Chilaka. Good to have you join today's conversation. All right, good morning, Barrister Ejofe Umobogu. Good to have you in today's conversation too. Now, Prince, let me start off with you. What do you have to say about the statement, by Tunde Bakare? Is it that someone asked earlier, is it late in coming? When someone said, "Hey, I beg they should go and sit down." He's not just the first person talking about this. A whole lot of persons have been talking about this present National Assembly. Some are saying that it's no longer rubber stamped because, check the body language of the President of the Senate. Whatever thing the President says, they will just give a nod. He made mention of that and all that. Are we still having checks and balances, that's supposed to be what the three arms of government in Nigeria should be held on to?
I'm one of those. For accepting the message. And so I'm going to look at the messenger first. Then I'll look at his message. This is a pastor who was so much involved in attacking Jonathan's administration. If you recall, he was at Ojota. He joined the fray of other pastors.
All right. Okay. We seem to have a problem with the audio there, but we'd like for you to hold on to your thoughts. We'll come back and take your thoughts in the course of the program. Let's quickly bring in Barrister Ejiofor Umegbogo. We'd like for you to unmute your microphone so we can hear you clearly, Barrister Ejiofor. Good. Right. We've established communication with you. Now, first off, let's get your a broad view of what you think about some of these assertions about the National Assembly being a rubber stamp, especially in comparison between the 10th and the 9th Assembly. Which would you say has been worse off in the years of the 9th Assembly and the few years of the 10th Assembly? Which would you say has been worse off?
Well, I will say, comparatively, that we have continued to witness a continued downward trend in the essence, the real essence of what a parliament should be. You see, there are not much difference between the 9th Assembly and the current 10th Assembly. Only that the current 10th Assembly is worse off the 9th Assembly. The 9th Assembly was bad, and then the 10th Assembly took it from there, and we are now seeing the worst of them all. It is quite a fact that the National Assembly, the 10th National Assembly, is a rubber stamp. Nobody can do that. Nobody in Nigeria can argue that. Even the Senate President himself, he knows this fact in his heart of hearts. So it is not debatable. It is undisputable. This is the worst Nigeria have seen.
I like the fact that you talk about the 10th National Assembly being a rubber stamp. And if you listen to what Bakare said, and going back in history, don't you think that Bakare was a bit hard on the president? Should we have a National Assembly that is combative? A National Assembly that wants to always disagree with the executive? Should we have a National Assembly that is belligerent? I mean, is there anything wrong in having a National Assembly that is not clearly pliant, but it's able to harmonize, with the executive to deliver on the promises of democracy? I can't recall in the recent history of Nigerian politics, where there was a robust debate on the floor of the National Assembly, there was agreement and disagreement about any issue, as we had when we were talking about the tax reform bills. Can you recall any? I cannot. So if you look at all of this, don't you think that Tunde Bakare is a bit hard on the president? I mean, if he has found a way to work around, having a National Assembly that is constructive, that is engaging with him, and they're able to achieve results. I mean, bills get passed without rancor, without bitterness and all of that. Should we have a National Assembly that is combative to the executive? To what end would that serve the Nigerian people?
All right. Nobody, no right-thinking person will ask for a National Assembly that will be combative or cantankerous or belligerent to the other arms of government. Not at all. That is the least Nigerians will ask for. That is out of the way of what the ordinary Nigerians are asking for. What we are asking for is for the National Assembly to be proactive in handling affairs of the state, in making laws that will better the lives of the people. That is the only thing Nigerians are asking for. A National Assembly that will be proactive, not combatant, not belligerent, not cantankerous. No.
Sorry, Barrister, based on what Bakare said, that's exactly what he wants. What else? How else will you do it?
Now, look at how they will do it.
Okay.
I think that is the 6th National Assembly, the National Assembly headed by Senator Ken Nnamani. If you look at the activities of the National Assembly under Ken Nnamani, Senator Ken Nnamani, you see a matured National Assembly. You see a proactive National Assembly that will agree with the executive when the need be and disagree with when the need arises. It's not just going to be belligerent or totally belligerent or totally cantankerous. No, but a National Assembly that will be led by principles. This current National Assembly has no principles, has no decorum, has no scruples. This is the worst of them all.
All right then. Okay, thank you very much, Barrister Ejiofor. That's your session. Let's come back to Prince Francis Chilaka here. Let's have your own. Do you agree? What were your initial thoughts?
I was saying that I am one of those who would say, take the message, forget the messenger. But in this situation, we must look at who that messenger is. Is he naked? Is he clothed? Is he wearing afro, whatever it's called? How is he dressed? Now, looking at Tunde Bakare, I would say he's one of those I have a lot of respect and regards for. He's one of the men of God who, from time to time, try to speak up for the masses, But when he now turned into a full-blown politician, let me remind him where I'm coming from.
Okay.
When he contested for the election and during the primaries, he said something. He said, whoever wins, he will support. He has not come back to Nigerians, whether he has stopped supporting.
No, but do you expect that he will support blindly?
No, I'm coming. When they came after Jonathan, it was everybody was after Jonathan. Ojota became the hub where he must go.
Okay.
Now, if Bakare, as it stands now, is telling Nigerians what we already know, there is nothing he's telling us that we don't know. I think the only side of it he brought in is the mafia. And when you say you're running a mafia system, it means you're running a crime syndicate. You're running a government of secrecy. You're running a government that is, denying people of saying the truth. So I expect that with what is happening and with the fact that he feels that Nigerians are suffering now, what I expect from a Bakare is to reincarnate or reenact what happened when they came after Jonathan. That's what I expect.
Okay.
And then we will now know, He is serious.
Right,
Several protests has been held. What role has Tunde Bakari played?
You don't think it's an issue of age because some Nigerians will say...
I saw him sitting down and giving a sermon. He can actually sit in a wheelchair. They can arrange a chair for him to sit down.
Now, don't you think that his statement, how blunt he was, is more like a way of protesting too?
Well, I keep telling people something. He, Tunde Bakari, of all persons should know the president better than anyone.
Okay, now if
and you have a president that no matter what you do, it's easy to give a cup of water to a monkey. To get that cup of the monkey is a bigger problem.
When Chikuma asked the question earlier to Barrister Ejiofor, you were shaking more like in disbelief. Now, what do you have to say also to that? It's like you have something different, a different opinion from what Barrister Ejiofor was saying.
No. I have a problem with the question he was asking.
Okay.
I have a problem with that question. And why do I have a problem with that question? You're asking a question of what you know the answer to be. You're asking a question. You're asking a question. We all know that this National Assembly is not it. They are not there for the people. So why are you trying? Wait. I'm coming, Moses. Moses, I'm coming. Why are you trying to? No.
Of the view.
No. Why are you trying to?
An elaborate.
No, you are trying to speak politically correct. You know that this National Assembly has failed the Nigerian people.
But some people are still defending them. If you think we know.
Who are those defending them?
How do you think we know? To what level now?
Who are those defending them?
All right.
Tell me one bill this National Assembly has passed that is in the interest of the ordinary Nigerians.
If you say people are not defending them now,
please, Fina. We talked about the conversation around the tax reform. Have we had such an elaborate conversation before a bill is passed?
Was there a conversation, sincerely speaking, Moses, between you and I, Nigeria, was there a conversation? There was no conversation. What you had was that some governors and some persons protested. If not, there was no conversation. That bill had already been passed. It is the protest of some governors that stood their grounds and said, no, this bill will not go through. Left the National Assembly, they were wasting their time. And that was what played out at the end of the day.
Okay.
So you think...
You see, Prince, the point is this. I wanted to... The question is, have we had any robust conversation on the floor of the National Assembly?
None.
Before now?
None.
And you also think that the tax reform bill, that the discussions were not robust?
There was no discussion. Mr. Okoro, let us be very honest with ourselves.
What happened?
There was no discussion. What you had was a protest. And the National Assembly was forced to listen. Look at the shenanigans that happened with the declaration of a state of emergency.
Okay.
In a real situation, what played out when we talked about state of emergency, is that what should play out?
Prince, can you go back in history? In the Ninth Assembly, was there any robust...
Ninth Assembly? Yes. What is the difference between Ninth and... When you talk of assembly that has some semblance of class, integrity, we talked about...
No.
We talked about...
let me ask, I think this question has been thrown out already, but should we have an assembly, a national assembly, that would be at loggerheads with the executive? Is that what democracy is about? Will the people now benefit at that time?
There are three arms of government: executive, legislative, judiciary. And each of them are meant to work independently.
At cross purposes?
No, I'm coming. They're meant to work independently. And they're meant to checkmate one another. None is meant to be subdued by the other. So what you have playing out in Nigeria is the fact that one, which is the executive, clamps the other two down. You have never seen this. You know, when you say should they fight the executive, no, nobody expects them to fight anybody. But what we are saying is that if you listen to, I think it was last month or last 2 months, 2 months, when the Ghanaian president presented his budget.
The argument that followed.
I mean, you will see men of proving honor, integrity. You could see debates that shows you that they know what they're doing. They know their onions.
Do you like what Ali Ndume is doing in the Senate?
Give and take. Well, he tries to oppose, or he tries to point out some things he believes are wrong.
Okay. What of Abdul Ningi last year said, look, the 2024 budget was clearly padded, and the problem is coming from somewhere. Was that a National Assembly, a Senate that was pliant or compliant? Or under the thumb of the
when he
presidency?
said that, what happened to him thereafter?
Was it the problem of the executive?
If the budget is padded, who presents the budget? It is the duty of the National Assembly to scrutinize the budget. When this 2025 budget was presented to the House of Rep, what did El-Rufai say? El-Rufai raised some issues, critical issues. Must we be buying spoons every year? Must we be buying this every year? And what happened? They threw it under the carpet.
But today someone told Nigerians that the reason he was asking those questions and criticizing the president was not because of the fact that I want Nigerians to benefit, but because of the fact that he felt being sidelined after working tirelessly for the country.
It was not, no. Who raised the question was not his father, it's the son. Let us declare.
We know that both of them are agreeing over the fact that they felt like El-Rufai was sidelined. They also say that he did a whole lot of things for the present administration, but he was not being compensated. So he was making those allusions or those statements out of,
Fina, until we remove nepotism, we remove tribalism, we will keep having problems in this country. When I raise a question, let it be that I'm raising a question and the question is being answered because I am raising a question. But this idea of when I raise a question and you people would say, oh, it is because I wasn't given food. It is because I wasn't given that. That is why the questions are being raised. It is not.
Okay.
It's not governance.
Thank you so much, Prince Francis.
It's not governance.
Thank you. Now, Barrister Ejiofor, let's get your opinion on the fact that now, according to what Tunde Bakare said, we have a present administration that is running a mafia-style system of governance. Where does that leave Nigeria in the future? Given the fact that a whole lot of persons are hoping and believing that the New Hope agenda is going to do something meaningful, even when they've been telling us that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. What do you have to say?
Tunde Bakare has not said anything new to me. He has not said anything newsworthy. I must be frank. He reiterated what we all know already. And let me even speak about this Bakare. This is a man who was part of the ignoble struggle to remove Jonathan from office. This was a man who used the pulpit to canvass and politic against a sitting president who did nothing to him, simply because of the tribalistic politics, tribal conglomeration of politicians of that time. This was a man, I must say, who participated in truncating the real democracy in 2014. Tunde Bakare lacks the integrity, he lacks the morality, he lacks the authority to tell us about mafia. He was part of the people who built the current mafia that is ruling this country since 2014. He was part of the originators. He was amongst the builders. He was amongst the people that betted and fed this lion, this beast called APC that is devouring all of us today. So he should first apologize to Nigerians. He should first mount the pulpit and cry for his sins first
But
before I can listen.
Barrister Ejiofor, if we take it back again to history, you remember that Nigerians were fed up with the 16 years rule of PDP in office. And that was what happened when they brought up the issue of, the change. A whole lot of persons chimed in because they believe that the change APC is going to bring will be a favorable one to Nigeria. Nigerians were complaining already before the emergence of APC. Don't you think so?
Was that Nigerians wasn't tired of any PDP government. That was not the agitation. The agitation then was just to grab power. It was just to grab power. And they have grabbed the power. Now, some people have been sidelined from the utilization of that power. And they are now crying foul. Now, listen. I got it authoritatively from one of them in that 2014, who is from my state and who was part of that ignoble movement to unseat Jonathan. All of us knew that Nigeria's economy was moving fast along the path of progress and sustainable growth. All of us know, even the world, the entire world, acclaimed that Nigerian economy is moving in the right direction until these power mongers, including Tunde Bakare, came up with their selfish agitation to remove a government that was moving on the path of progress and enthrone this bunch of beasts, this bunch of hooligans.
Now, Barrister Ejiofor, now that maybe Tunde Bakare now have come up with this reality, maybe he wasn't aware of what was happening earlier. There's nothing wrong in asking for more. I need you to give us your concluding thought. I need you to give us a concluding thought. Let's say in less than 1 minute or thereabout, as you tell us how to move forward. Let's get a concluding.
And also, Barrister, I would like for you to temper your language, so don't refer to anyone as beasts, please. Go ahead.
But these people are actually devouring Nigerians. Look at the number of deaths we witnessed in Benue the other time. Do we talk about Aba? Do we talk about Plateau? What else is the definition of bestiality? What else? Look at how people are dying every day. Death and blood is no longer an absurdity in Nigeria. It is now a new normal. It is now a new normal in Nigeria. And you said we cannot refer to them as beasts. They are devouring Nigerians. Actually, they are beasts.
All right, Barrister, let's have your concluding thoughts. Let's have your concluding thoughts on this
was among the people that betted and fed that beast. That is the point I'm making.
All right.
Okay. So we'll take that to be a concluding thought then, Barrister. Thank you so much. We also encourage you to still be part of the show. Of course, we'll be moving over to the second topic of conversation. Prince Francis Chilaka, let's get a concluding thought.
Concluding thought, I think it's high time this men of God, because a lot of them have been spewing rubbish. They should face the altar. They should face the Bible. They should face bringing succor to the people and leave politics, because when they get into politics, they seem to lose every atom of respect and integrity. Look at what the one in Benue State is doing. You call yourself a reverend father, and yet you cannot bring your sheep together.
In essence, are you saying that politics should be left for the politicians and religious individuals, or clerics should not indulge?
You should keep away, because especially in Nigeria.
How then are we going to get...
Especially in Nigeria. Let me tell you why. They should learn to understand and speak the language Christ will speak when it comes to politics.
Don't you think
what they are speaking in Nigeria, the only time you see them speaking like this is when their pulses are going down. Because now the people are suffering, so the people are not able to pay tithes and make offerings.
That's a heavy allegation.
That is the truth. It's the truth. One was talking what I don't understand yesterday, trying to compare America to Nigeria. Forgetting that in Nigeria you work for 30 days and you're paid a minimum of 70,000 naira. And meanwhile, you work for the same 30 days in America as a minimum salary, you probably go with 1.something million. And then the pastor comes in public. And
million naira or dollar?
Naira, when you convert, I'm talking of naira now.
Okay.
compared to 70,000 naira. And then you come in public and you're chastising and downgrading people who say Nigeria has happened to you. And he calls himself a pastor. And then you see people in the congregation clapping. What a shame.
Well, if clerics don't get involved in the governance...
How have they bettered the lot of Nigeria with their involvement?
All right, then.
How?
This would be a good place to anchor this conversation. Thank you very much, Prince Francis Chilaka, who is a public affairs commentator. Thank you very much for coming. I do understand that we'll have to let you go at this point, but we do appreciate your time and your thoughts. Barrister Ejiofor Umegbogu would like you to stay with us as we get into the next conversation now. And when we come back from this break, we'll be talking about statements made by Hakeem Baba Ahmed, who has confirmed resignation from Tinubu's government. And he has said that rigging 2027 might be the end of Nigeria, as he asserts that no candidate can win presidential elections without the North. Let's x-ray this when we come back from this break. Join us again.
Are you ready for the extraordinary? Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOP TV, now streaming on SLTV channel 202. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story, we bring in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. VOP TV on SLTV channel 202. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice. Extraordinary. Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOP TV, now streaming on SLTV channel 202. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story, we bring in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. VOP TV on SLTV channel 202. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
Now, thanks for joining us again. Former presidential advisor Dr. Hakeem Baba Ahmed has declared that no candidate can win Nigeria's presidency in 2027 without strong backing from the northern region. Speaking in Kaduna, he said the North is preparing to define its political direction in the coming months, and one that continued neglect of the region could destabilize national unity. Well, he insisted that the North is no longer willing to play a passive role in national politics, and that future leadership must reflect fairness and true representation. Baba Ahmed expressed deep concern over the country's current state, urging Northerners to reject leaders who exploit religion or ethnicity for personal gain. He called for a shift towards merit-based politics, where voters prioritize competence, integrity, and a genuine plan for development. He said that the region has been misled for too long and that the next election must not be decided by old loyalties or political pressure from self-serving elites. Well, he issued a strong warning against election rigging in 2027, describing any attempt to manipulate the outcome as a dangerous threat to national stability. Oh, well, according to Baba Ahmed, nobody can actually win, no person can win the presidency in Nigeria without a strong backing from the North. We still have in the studio, we have been joined in the studio by Barrister Darlington Agomo. Barrister Darlington is a lawyer. He's also a political affairs analyst and VOP in-house analyst. We also have Barrister Ejiofor Umebogo. Barrister Ejiofor joins us from our Oka outstation. Gentlemen, thanks for coming. Barrister, thanks for coming. And Barrister Ejiofor, thanks for staying with us.
My pleasure.
Barrister, let me start with you. Hakeem Baba Ahmed said quite a lot. But also, before I even get into the questioning, I would like for you to understand that he is a relation of Dati Baba Ahmed, the mate to Peter Obi in the 2023 general election. And he said quite a lot. He said, look, the North has been misled for a very long time. And they are not going to play into old loyalties. When he says that the North has been misled for a very long time, who misled them? I mean, out of 64 years of independence, the North has led for 46 years. Yes. And in the 8 years of Buhari administration, the North was mute. In terms of representation, the North had nothing. So when people like Baba Ahmed, Hakeem Baba Ahmed come out to speak, what is it that, does it speak to the arrogance in the North? Does it speak to their entitlement as born to rule, they have always said? And by the way, when they say that nobody can win presidency without the support of the North, is it possible that anybody becomes president from the North without the support of the South? I mean, if you factor in 26, two-thirds of 36 states is 26. And the northern states, they have only 19. So what happens to the balance of 7 states? Where are they going to get it from? Is it from the moon? Or are they going to move over to Niger or Chad and get the states to get the presidency? So let's have your broad reaction to all that Hakeem Baba Ahmed said.
Thank you, Mr. Okoro. If we have not had this type of thing before, I would say, well, this is a novel idea. But you and I know very well that the North has spoken more than this in the past. At the end of the day, they betrayed themselves.
Really?
Yeah, they betrayed themselves. Did you not see how they betrayed Jonathan? Only to start confessing after what they did and what they did not do against him.
Jonathan wasn't one of them.
I said,
when you said they betrayed themselves.
Yes, now, because was it not this something he's talking about today that amounts to betrayal?
But they took power from Jonathan.
They were misled against Jonathan. Was that not true? It wasn't not after they started confessing. You had it now, several confessions came out. How they betrayed Jonathan, how they were misled, how they made a mistake. All this, it happened. So if it had not happened before, I would say, well, the man have turned a new leaf, they're born again. Look, if they are quarreling with Tinubu because he's not doing what they agreed in a closet, my dear, I will not buy that idea. The taste of the food is in the eating. Let the election come and let them act according to their words. Then I will say, okay, the North have truly changed. But if they are saying all this is now, so that Tinubu will now be a good boy to them, well, count me out. Because I've seen this type of statement in the past.
Baba Ahmed said something about that rigging the 2027 election might be the end of Nigeria.
Exactly.
Is it telling us that elections have always been rigged in this country?
Of course. I'm not been rigging it. Who have been rigging the election? You saw what happened in Kano. That gave Buhari victory over Jonathan. You saw what happened. Nobody said anything about it. The wreck man at Kano who wanted to bring out the real result, that gave Jonathan victory. They burnt him in his house. They burnt him in his house, and a police officer, a commissioner, was supervising the carnage. Why did they talk that time? They didn't. They kept quiet. So because it was in their favor. My dear, we are tired of this deceit. Okay. Personally, I'm tired of this deceit.
Thank you so much. Barrister Ejiofor, let's get your own thoughts on this. When Ahmad was talking, he also called on citizens and groups and coalition of Nigeria to rise above past mistakes and rally behind leaders that can truly address Nigeria's growing challenges. Now, when we talk about these leaders, state is not going to depend on past loyalties and all that. This call that he's making is also what so many Nigerians have been talking about too. How we need to bring in new politicians on board and all that. Do you think that will be possible at this point in time, given the fact that even the National Assembly, as the case may be, happens to be a place for persons who have been past governors and, one political holder or the other to have their own rest? We'll leave you to unmute your microphone so that we can get your audio.
All right. Hope you can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you now. Go ahead.
Let me try to put this current political agitations coming from these disgruntled political elements. Let me try to put it in proper perspective. Now, in 2014, these same hawks, they rallied together and truncated the real democracy and enthroned some bunch of non-entities as our leaders.
All right, now, Barrister Ejiofor, please, Barrister Ejiofor, we value your contribution, but please be mindful with the language. Don't call names here.
Okay, I have not called anybody any names. I have not called any name. Did I mention any name? No, I did not.
Brother, go on.
So what I was saying is that democracy, the real democracy, was truncated in 2014 by these same people. Now, all of them went back to their shelves. All this while, enjoying their bounties. Some of them, their children were given appointment, their relations, they were given opportunities, some slots to nominate persons to ministerial positions, ambassadorial positions, and the rest of them. Juicy ministries and MDAs. Now, another round of election is coming, and they are all coming out from their shelves again. We should be wary of these hawks, of these vultures. There is nothing they will tell me that will make me to listen to them. These were how they all came out in 2014. History is about to repeat itself. When they enthroned APC government in 2014, they had some mushroom agreements, some clandestine agreements were reached, and now some of them have lost out of power, lost out of the power struggle, and lost out of favor, from the holders of the office now. Now, because they have lost out of favor and lost out in the power struggle, they are now coming up with all these usual talks that we used to hear.
Barrister Ejiofor, let me
land this way. Okay. Now, let me land this way, please. Please, let me land this way. Now, Hakim Baba Ahmed, Tunde Bakare, and El Rufai, all of them are birds of the same feather. These people are coming, especially Tunde Bakare. Tunde Bakare is coming out now to address the media, to address the public. Where has he been all this while? What contribution did he make in any national issue, in any national debate,
all right,
in economic policies?
We touched on Tunde Bakari's. Anyway, let's...
Now, the same thing with Hakim Baba Ahmed. Hakim Baba Ahmed was a member of this government up till now as a special advisor.
Now, don't you think his resignation...
Nothing.
Barrister Ejiofor, don't you think his resignation speaks to the fact that he's not pleased with the way the administration is running things, because he has tendered his resignation, he has moved out of the cabinet of the APC-led administration?
He's now resigning because election is on the way. He's now resigning because his kith and kins, his folks, his fellow folks and vultures are now ganging up together again.
All right, Barrister Ejiofor, in as much as you're not mentioning individual names here, we will not allow you to continue to call elected leaders vultures and non-entities and names like that, please. Once again, I plead with you to be mindful of your language, please. Now, let's X-ray another angle to this conversation now. Now, do you think that the words of Baba Ahmed is anything to go by, considering the fact, I mean, he did say that Tinubu will not, I mean, if the North does not decide, then nobody will get power. And APC has retorted that he may not know what he's saying, according to the APC bigwigs, that he may not know what he's saying because the North voted massively for Tinubu in 2023. Do you think his words will sway anything? Because we saw that in 2023, Tinubu had more votes actually from the Northwest. And it was at a time when they said permutations were that if he doesn't someone from the Fulani extraction, he may not be supported. But he chose a Kanuri man as his VP, and then he got massive votes regardless. Don't you think whatever Baba Ahmed is saying may not hold water because Tinubu may just have his way around things?
The reality is that the North, just like he said, he even betrayed himself by saying that this time around that no rigging, that the North will not allow rigging. That clearly shows that he has accepted the fact that the North has been rigging all this while. If the North cannot rig this election, then I will tell you that the North will not decide the outcome of the election. Their ability to decide the outcomes of previous elections were because of their capacity to rig and their steady propensity to rig every election. So, in one breath, he is saying that the North will decide, meaning alluding to the fact that they will use their rigging mechanism.
I'm not sure he said the North rigged. I think he said if APC rigs, the North will not allow it.
No, in one breath he said that the North will define its political direction. Yeah?
Yes.
That means that they will use their voting strength or their rigging capacity to define the political direction of the country. Okay. That is what he said in one sentence.
But what he said there, Barrister Ejiofor, he was warning Nigeria about the rigging of this particular outcome of the election of 2027. You know, he never said anything about the North rigging. He just said he is against manipulation of the outcome of that result, saying it's going to be a dangerous threat to national stability. He never said that the North are going to rig the election.
Yes, that is alluding to the fact that they have been rigging before. They have been rigging in the past. And then he's now saying that they will not allow rigging now. Good tidings to him.
Okay.
If he said that they will not rig this time around. If he said that they will not allow rigging this time around, then I will tell him that those of us down here will now decide the election.
Okay.
Because
All right, let's come back to the... Thank you, Barrister Joffa. Thank you very much. Let's come back to the studio where we still have Barrister. Barrister, I want us to interrogate the issue of rigging. When Baba Ahmed says, look, that wanting to, or anybody that is trying to rig the 2027 general election, that might be the end of Nigeria. And he also said that, look, the North, in the next 6 months, that the North is going to decide the direction that they will take. I want us to concentrate on rigging. Does it look like he has a, how can I put it now? Does it look like he is anticipating that the APC, under the leadership of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, will try to manipulate the 2027 general election?
One, there is no other way APC will win any election except through rigging, because they have nothing to campaign with. If there is, somebody should tell me. So I don't need to be told. Even Tinubu is not preparing to win election. He's preparing to rig. And that's why he's putting all these structures in place.
Which structures?
Yes, like appointing APC stalwarts as rec personnel in all the states. Is it not in the electoral law that they say people of such positions should not be a member of any political party?
Do you have information that any rec member is of the APC?
Were you not here when it happened in Edo? Some political party protested. At the end of the day, APC and Tinubu had their way.
But that's in one state.
We're talking no.
Nigeria.
Go and check. Go and check all the states. Go and check all the states, especially in the South. Why do you think Tinubu will make such a mistake? By appointing a non-APC member to where they are going to, the demand that we will announce the results in all the states.
Now, Barrister Darlington, the APC chairman also made a statement, after the station of after El-Rufai and Atiku Abubakar visited former President Buhari. Ganduje told Nigerians that whatever permutation, a merger or a coalition or a team up of political parties they're having for the 2027 election is not going to yield any fruit, given the fact that APC have what it takes to play and make sure that they still retain the power after that 2027 election.
Look, you see, I wanted him to tell me that APC has done so well. It will be difficult for any other political party.
We're looking at a Northerner and another Northerner again saying something different. Won't that be a coalition now?
Hold on. Leave the Northern thing alone. After all the Northern people, they are not in the same political party. We are now trying to interrogate this rigging thing. Tell me, what does APC have on the table today that will convince me and you to vote for them? No.
Barrister.
So,
sorry, please. Sorry to interrupt you. In the 2023 election, President Tinubu came off with over 8 million votes. Now you are alluding to the fact that most of it were rigged votes. That's what you're alluding. You're alluding to the fact that most of it were rigged votes.
That was 2023. We are talking about a coming election, no?
I'm talking about 2023.
It's laying a premise.
I'm talking about 2023.
Good. Based on the revelations later, I mean, are you trying to doubt me or what?
8 million.
You heard what Wike did.
8 million. That's a lot of votes to rig.
Wait, you saw what Wike did in River State.
Yes, the PDP still won.
And you saw the glitch, according to INEC, that happened on presidential election alone. Is that not suspicious enough? A presidential election, that was where you had a glitch. And you see them using barrow and eraser to be cancelling and erasing things.
Okay, now let's talk about the appointment of Rex, something you alluded to not too long ago, a few minutes back.
Yes.
What does INEC guidelines and regulations say about Rex being partisan? And why can that be upheld?
You are asking a question again. Has the Tinubu...
Barrister, I'm here to have a question.
Good. I'm telling you now, has the Tinubu upheld anything? Even court judgment, has he obeyed it? You are asking me.
So what then is the place of the Nigerian
that we are telling
themselves?
you now. We are telling you now why he is not prepared to win election. We are telling you how he is preparing the ground for rigging. That's just the simple truth. And because the power is in his hand, he's using it anyhow. Is that not why everybody is complaining, including his own party members?
Barrister, I would like for you to touch on the fact that the North, that no region can produce the presidency without the support of the North. How true is that statement?
You know, over the years, that's why it is said in my play that Aroba for Yago. Now, it's that when evil has been allowed to fester for too long, it becomes a tradition. Over the years, the North has this mentality that they are more in number, and you and I have accepted it. That's why every time they will run to North as a political maker. You saw all of them going to Buhari the other time. They believe that they have the numerical whatever. But to go and check, many of these people are not Nigerians. During the election, they will troop in from Niger.
Barrister, with what is happening in the Middle Belt, do you think that the North is still one?
They are not one. They can't be one. They can't be one. They are not one. That's why they are bringing in foreigners now to take over from these people they are dislodging in Benue and Plateau. They are not one. Go and check. That's why they know themselves, they know. So this man is saying, I told you, I don't believe them. They are working towards something. These people that have taken over Benue and Plateau, where are they from? The North is not talking about it at all. That is because they are working towards something. You know that Tinubu wants to conduct census. And these foreigners will be counted as Nigerians from the North.
Barrister, we need you to give us a concluding thought.
Sorry?
We are pressed for time, so we need your concluding thoughts. As you also react to a way we're going to move away from the old loyalists and political pressure that have actually indulged themselves in self-serving.
Pina, look, at my age and level of understanding, I think our past being deceived. They have deceived Nigerians, and when we are shouting, they won't listen to us. So this time around, if you are talking, let me see what you are saying. Let me see you do it before I will listen to you. We are tired of being deceived. Look at all the things they have been talking over the years now, from 2015 up till now. Is it not deceit? And we are still here. So when they come again to tell you, we are not going to, so that they will bring their own candidate to take over from Tinubu, and then they will bounce back.
All right, Barrister.
I will not.
Thank you so much. Barrister Ijofe Umebogu, please let's get a concluding thought.
All right, let me conclude this way by letting our audience and the rest of the Nigerians to know that these folks, our political folks that are coming up now to make some noise, should not be listened to. Nigerians shouldn't listen to them, from Tunde Bakari to Hakim Baba Ahmed to El Rufai. I got from a grapevine that in 2014, when they formed APC, Buhari was meant to contest for president, and then Tinubu will be the leader of the party. Now, after Buhari will hand over to Tinubu. Tinubu becomes the president, and then El Rufai will become the leader of the party.
Exactly.
And also the president in waiting. So that after the South, 8 years of Tinubu, the power will go to the North, and then it will be the turn of El Rufai. El Rufai will become the president. That was how they structured it. But Tinubu has, gone against that, their evil covenant. Now they are angry. They are now agitated. You see why we should not listen to them? Right. You see why we should not giving them listening ears or helping them to broadcast their balderdash?
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Are also selfish interests. Nigerians should understand it. That these people are coming out now to gang up for their own selfish interests.
Thank you so much for your line of thoughts. We are pressed for time.
None of them is for the interest of this country.
Thank you, Barrister. We have to go over to the next topic of conversation, where we have a T.Y. Danjuma, calling for self-defense as Benue death toll climbs to 56 and labels this violence a full-blown war. But in another breath, Jigawa governor disagrees, insists that Nigeria has not reached that stage. We beg you, gentlemen, to stay with us so that we'll go on a quick break and we'll come back to explore this topic.
Well, thanks for staying with us. Now, the wave of violence across Nigeria has deepened as death toll from herdsmen attacks in Benue State has climbed to 56. Governor Hyacinth Alia, who toured affected communities, described the situation as a full-scale war. Meanwhile, former Defense Minister General Theophilus Danjuma renewed his call for Nigerians, particularly those in Taraba, to take up self-defense in the face of relentless killings, highlighting the escalating bloodshed in Benue, Plateau, Ondo, and other regions. While tensions are also rising in Kwara State, where a new terrorist group known as Mahmuda has reportedly resumed its deadly operations in Kayama and Banten local government areas, with cases of kidnapping and murder already emerging. Well, Theophilus Danjuma, addressing staff in Takum, emphasized that the killings resemble acts of genocide. However, Jigawa State Governor Umaru Namadi rejected a call for citizens to defend themselves, warning that it could push the country into chaos. In Plateau State, however, protests broke out in Jos, the capital, as residents voiced outrage over continued attacks. Demonstrators led by Christian leaders gathered at Fuavwe Junction, disrupting traffic and calling for urgent government action. The protest follows a surge in violence that has claimed 100 lives in Bokos and Bassa LGAs in just 2 weeks, reflecting growing frustration and fear among local communities. We have with us two barristers, Darlington Agumo, VOP in-house analyst, and Ejiofor Umegbogo, human rights activist and also a journalist. Well, he speaks to us from Oka. Well, thank you very much, gentlemen, for staying with us, and I do hope Barrister Ejiofor will, simmer it down with the language this time around. Okay. Yes, thank you. Well, let's get into Barrister Ejiofor. Let me start off with you now. With death toll, the death toll, according to some statistics from 2023, from about 2023 to now, when this is 2025, from 2023 to now, some organizations have put the death toll at about 13,346 people from both banditry and headers attack, insurgency in general. The death toll 13,000. That's a large number. I don't know if you agree with the number or not, but with such death toll, do you think, and then the call for Nigerians to pick up arms and defend themselves, either pick up machetes or whatever, or guns if it's available to them, and defend themselves from these individuals who raid villages, dislodge, not just dislodge, they kill. And we have 100 and this, 200 here and there, and people are kidnapped, babies are killed in the process, and all of it. With all of this call for self-defense and this figure of number of people killed in certain parts of the country, do you think Nigeria is a failed state or going towards a failed state?
Well, let me begin from your last statement, your last question. Do I think if Nigeria is a failed state? You don't just think. It is very clear that Nigeria is a failed state. In fact, Nigeria is a stateless state, going by the definition of, by the description by London School of Economics some 4 years ago even. A certain professor in London School of Economics described Nigeria as a stateless state. That is, Nigeria is a state. He was asked to explain. He said that Nigeria is a state that has defied all known economic and political philosophies. That he can't describe Nigeria as a capitalist country. He cannot describe Nigeria as a socialist country. Neither will he describe Nigeria as a communist country or a totalitarian country. That Nigeria has defied all known political and economic theories, so that Nigeria is a country existing without form and void. So Nigeria is a stateless state. That is very clear to everybody. We don't need to talk much about that. But when it comes to citizens defending themselves, let me remind you, or take it from the standpoint of the current DG of DSS, Mr. Adeola Ajayi, who only recently, I hope you saw the trending video, only recently in a certain security retreat with military chiefs, he dwelled on the need for Nigerians to own arms and defend themselves, that is the only way to go. This is coming from the DG of DSS, not me. And he spoke to military chiefs. He was not talking to Biapalo, men of Biapalo. No.
Okay.
So let me just liken it with America. I keep on saying it. I am an exponent of citizens defending themselves. And good a thing, the insecurity in Nigeria has even overwhelmed our security agencies to the extent that our security chiefs are now also coming out openly to say that Nigerians should defend themselves.
Okay, but Barrister Joffa, talking about the role of government, what the DSS director told Nigerians to defend themselves, more what Danjuma has told the people of the Middle Belt to protect themselves. The president has been away for the past getting to 3 weeks, and he flew into Abuja from Europe last night, and Nigerians were asking him to cut short his trip and come back to Nigeria. Now that he's back, do you expect that insecurity is going to thaw? What do you expect him to do now that he's back? Do you expect to see him wear a camouflage, visit any of those killing fields, or what do you expect from him at this moment now that he's back to town?
My brother, I don't expect anything from him because there is nothing he can do for anybody.
Why are people asking him to come back home?
When he comes back or he doesn't come back, it is the same 1 and 10 pence. It is the same thing. What will he come to do? Is President Tinubu in charge? He can defend us.
I'm sorry, you just said something. Sorry, Barrister, you said something. You said, is President Tinubu in charge? Who is in charge if the president is not in charge? We're talking about the Nigerian president.
Yes, he is not in charge.
So who is in charge, sir?
In Nigeria, nobody is even in charge. This country is just floating. And this country has been analyzed, even in London's School of Economics, as a floating. We are just floating. Nobody is in charge. So when I say that Tinubu is not in charge, it is correct. He's not in charge.
You think we are running on autopilot? Is that what you're saying, Barrister?
Yes.
Okay.
We are just in autopilot.
Let's bring you to the studio.
And because we are just existing, because we are just existing, that is the more reason why everybody should take up arms and defend himself and his family.
I disagree with you, because in Nigeria we have an elected president, we have elected governors, we have the National Assembly also there, we have the House of Representatives, we also have local government, and we have the people there. So persons will tell you, no, Nigeria have their leaders, we are not running on autopilot. Now to you, Barrister Darlington Agumo. At what point is it then that we'll know that Nigeria is already in a state of chaos or anarchy? Given the fact that the Jigawa State Governor Umar Namadi come up to say that this is not yet, it's not yet time for Nigerians to, move into self-defense. The likes of Samuel Otom asked a question some time ago. Since we know the problem we're having in Nigeria is insecurity, what then is stopping the government from squashing it?
You see, Fina, the person that is wearing the shoe know where is his teaching. The man that is speaking from Jigawa, it is because he's not affected. If these terrorists have come to wipe out his people or his village and sack him, I think he will be speaking a different tune. So all those statements they are making, I don't buy it, because you and I know the people that are bearing the brunt. Mostly Christians from Plateau and Benue. Mostly. If there is it's the collateral damage. It's not as if they were the targets. And this thing has been going on for more than 15 years now. And then somebody from the north is telling now you should not defend yourself. So the people that are killing, did he say anything about them? The answer is no. So those people should continue to kill while you now become a sitting duck for them. Can you imagine? Can you imagine how people theorize things?
So what do you think, how do you react to the move by Khan yesterday when they went to the streets of Jos protesting the incessant killings? Is that, do you think that will draw attention, the necessary attention?
It is a useless effort as far as I'm concerned. The people that are killing them, did they go on street protest before? No, did they announce?
So what do you expect Khan to do then?
If we have a Khan that is active, they should have done something before now. Arm your people, because the government have told you to do that.
The Christian Association of Nigeria.
Yes, now. I do know there are people that are being wiped out here. All these ones that are dead now, will they come back? We are just talking grammar. We are just protesting. Are you telling me that this killing will stop with what happened?
Don't you think that if Nigerians are armed, we would take it out? I mean, things will get even out of hand, and people can start killing each other in traffic. Don't you think things can get that bad?
How can you kill somebody? You go and face the law. If you misuse the arms, you face the law.
The people that are misusing the arms now, are they facing the law? Has anybody been brought to book?
That's what I'm telling you. That arm is for you to defend yourself from terrorists who came to attack you. That's what it's meant for.
But with kidnappings going on, how do you determine which one is a terrorist attack?
Like when they come to your village like this, like they have been doing in Plateau and Benue, you will know that
those that should be armed then should be those within the rural communities.
Because that's where they operate.
Okay.
That's where they operate. It must be deployed in case of what? Terrorist attack. That's when it will be deployed.
Who should deploy it? Should government
the people
sell
that
arms
have
at
armed
affordable
themselves, yes.
prices? Should government sell arms to people then? Or should
No, hold on.
These arms?
The terrorists that are attacking the people, where did they get their arms? Was it government that gave it to them? If government gave it to them, the same government should arm the attacking.
But that's the government is for the people now. Government, the role of government is to take care of the people.
What?
So if individuals
Moses,
Barrister, please hold on.
In 2016,
if individuals that are in power, if individuals within the corridors of power are saying, Nigerians, protect yourselves, that's like, should the government or should these individuals now propel the government to give Nigerians the arms and procure the arms?
Okay, let me answer you. In 2016, when Buhari came into office, a year, he came in 2015. 2016, he included 940 million in our national budget. And he said this is to fund the Fulani herdsmen and their business. All of us cried out, including me. I was all over the place saying this is wrong. This is a danger coming. Why would you do this? It has never happened in the history of this country. They say it is to stop farmer header clash because that's what they called it. But I know it's not a clash of any kind. They said they will use it to build ranches for headers so that they will not be trespassing or encroaching in people's farmland. We said, okay, if that will solve the problem, okay, no problem, no problem. Moses and Okoro and Fina, please, since that 2016 till now, till Buhari left office, did you see one particular place where they built any ranch for any header? Did you see anyone? Rather, at the end of that 2016, that's when we saw guns all over the place. This Fulani, they started carrying guns. And we said, how did these people acquire? People now went to town to price that one of them.
Are you aware that
how did they get money to buy it?
Certain organizations that are engaged in foreign aids have been accused of bringing weapons into troubled regions in Nigeria to foster some sort of movement and encourage mining? Are you aware of that allegation?
How come these foreigners, the gun they brought, they gave it to a particular people? How come?
How come?
Why didn't it go around? If they are true, if truly they want to, go through that route, Why is it that they gave it to a particular people? And if the government is aware, what is the government? Why are they looking the other side?
Okay, Barrister, thank you very much.
They should have stopped it now. That's what government is all about.
Your thoughts on the program, we really appreciate your take. Thanks also to Barrister Ejiofor, human rights activist. Thanks for coming on the program as well. This is where we drop anchor on station. 9 o'clock. I beg your pardon, do I say 9? 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock. Unfortunately, we're absolutely out of...
From the views on the street,
we go to bed empty hunger,
to the blaring horns of a hustling city, the loudest voices of the common man got a medium to be heard.
This particular administration, they were coming unprepared.
It's not a bad thing to renovate the president's law.
Through top-notch programming, unbiased reportage of news, sports, business, entertainment, and cultural documentaries, Voice of the People 90.3 FM became a symbol for 21st century media. And now, a new baby is born. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV, youthful, full of vigor and penchant for excellence in the continent's media space, exposing the wrongs, applauding the rights, dissecting the news without fear or favor, through factual and accurate stories and contents.
Corruption kills three things that makes a society.
Representing the interests of the people and giving them a voice. Voice of the People TV is here to stay towards building a fair society. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television, truly a voice for...
Easter, the most important event on the Christian calendar, goes beyond tradition and ceremony. It is a season rooted in the resurrection of Jesus Christ, a moment that signifies the triumph of life over death, hope, and despair. From city cathedrals to rural parishes, the atmosphere across Nigeria is filled with joy, praise, and thanksgiving. Churches are holding special services, vigils, and outreach programs as Christians mark the fulfillment of their faith. But amidst the joy, Easter also carries a message of personal and national reflection, urging the faithful to live out the message of resurrection, showing love, unity, and compassion in a country still battling with hardship, division, and insecurity. Some churches and individuals are extending the celebration by giving to the less privileged, providing food, clothing, and a message of love to the vulnerable. For many Nigerians, Easter is not just a time for celebration, but a reminder that even in trying times, there is the promise of new beginnings.
For me, while I was meditating on it last night, to be very factual, there's something that came to my mind as displayed in the book of Luke chapter 24 from verse 5 to 7. When the women went to the tomb and they realized that he had risen, he was no longer in the grave. So the lesson I want everyone to learn from that book of the Bible and Jesus Christ as in raising up from the dead is this: no matter what the situation, no matter what you think you are going through, he has paid the price already. So please be ready for a comeback. As we celebrate his resurrection, just know that everything dead in your life is coming back to life. Because as you believe it, so shall it be. So please know that everything dead in your life is coming back to life. Then your life is now open to opportunities that are not measurable. And as you believe that, so shall it be.
For me, for Easter, basically, is hope. If Jesus did not resurrect, then we are hopeless. But Jesus being able to come out from the grave, not in spirit form, but in human form, gives us hope that there is another place where we can go to if we serve him faithfully.
Easter Sunday is because that you did the Christ resurrected. Going to Christ, because you said when he died, 3 days he will rise again. He has risen. We all have risen with Christ. All our past evil, past sins, we should put them aside and focus on the risen Christ and make sure we don't go back to our evil ways again, to our sins again. We should just try I know it's difficult, but we should try to be good citizens. We should try to love our neighbor as ourselves. But if we love our neighbor as ourselves, we will not commit, we will not do any all those evil things that we do.
The lesson I learned is that as Jesus Christ have rose from death, meaning that is another life entirely. So as Jesus is risen, we as a body of Christians should be able to show love, and we should live a life of purity because Jesus Christ have done it for us on the cross of Calvary. So we also should be able to present ourselves a holy sacrifice so that the other people can also emulate, and the world will be a beautiful place for us to live.
We should learn a lesson of preaching love, caring for one another. We should behave like Christ because Christ has died for us. He has resurrected. So we should also resurrect with him. If there is any place we are lacking behind, we should try to amend and live.
Oil marketers say petrol prices may fall to about 800 naira per litre soon due to falling global crude prices and the renewal naira for crude policy for local refineries. This follows Dangote Refinery's second price cut in a week, reducing the ex-depot price of petrol from 865 naira to 835 naira per litre. According to Dangote, major marketers will now sell between 890 naira and 920 naira per litre, depending